The Watchmaker of Moments. The melody of the last memory, good evening. There are melodies that, once heard, become anchored in the soul forever. Have you ever felt that a single moment should last for an eternity? That the echo of a laugh or the warmth of a hug deserved its own refuge against the march of time? Tonight, on the Corner of Lost Stories, I will take you to ... a small watchmaker's shop with a copper-colored facade where the ticking didn't mark the hours, but the heartbeats. There, a young woman named Alara discovered that her grandfather's inheritance was not about measuring time, but treasuring it. Her grandfather, Cale, had been the soul of that shop for over 60 years. The townspeople knew him as the Watchmaker of Moments. Alara never fully understood that nickname, but her love for her grandfather was immense. After he passed, the key to the shop was given to her along with a note. Time is a canvas, not a cage. Upon entering, the air smelled of cedarwood, linseed oil, and something else ... nostalgia. The clocks hanging on the walls and resting in display cases were not ordinary. Some had mother-of-pearl faces that reflected non-existent lights. Others had crystal pendulums that swung with a strangely personal rhythm. None of them, however, showed the correct time. They were all stopped, or they moved at their own whimsical pace. Alara sighed, feeling the weight of a legacy she didn't comprehend. How could she possibly continue a business like this? If this feeling of mystery and longing already resonates with you, a like helps us wind this story together. That first night, as she was dusting the counter, her fingers brushed against a small silver pocket watch. It had no hands. In their place was a delicate engraving of a hummingbird in mid-flight. Intrigued, she opened it. There was no click, but rather the whisper of a summer breeze and the distant sound of children's laughter. Alara startled, dropping the watch. The sound ceased. With her heart pounding, she picked it up and opened it again. The same breeze, the same laughter. It was her own, from her childhood, playing with her grandfather in the garden. Tears of wonder welled in her eyes. That watch didn't measure time. It held a memory. She ran through the shop, opening other clocks. Each one was a portal to a lived moment. A wall clock with wooden Roman numerals gave off the aroma of freshly baked bread from her grandmother's kitchen. A cuckoo clock, instead of a bird, played the melody of a lullaby Cale used to sing her to sleep. She finally understood her grandfather's nickname. He didn't repair clocks. He created them. They were vessels for precious moments, saved from the relentless advance of the seconds. In the back workshop, she found Cale's journals. Decades of entries in elegant calligraphy. There, he described his art, the chronergy of emotion. He didn't use metal gears, but filaments of longing, polished with essence of joy. Each clock required an anchor, a physical object from the moment to be preserved. An autumn leaf for the memory of a walk, a piece of lace from a wedding dress for a wedding day. Alara spent days and nights reading, absorbing every word, every secret of that magical craft. She discovered that her grandfather had dedicated his life to helping others preserve their most valuable moments. A mother who wanted to save her child's first word. An old man who longed to hear his late wife's declaration of love one more time. Cale was a guardian of happiness, a craftsman of emotion. But a page in the last journal caught her attention. It was near the end. My Elara ... my little hummingbird. I leave you the workshop, but also an unfinished task, the most important clock of all. The one I started for your grandmother, Lyra, and could never finish. Alara searched the entire workshop until she found a mahogany box under the workbench. Inside, on a bed of blue velvet, lay a half-built mantel clock. Its frame was of moon silver, and its gears seemed to be woven from threads of starlight. It was the most exquisite piece she had ever seen. Beside it, a note. It's missing the final heartbeat. The last memory we shared. I wasn't strong enough to find it. Alara felt a lump in her throat. Her grandmother Lyra had passed away years ago, and her grandfather was never the same. The task was clear. She had to finish her grandmother's clock. She had to find that last memory and give it its place. She dove into the journals, searching for clues, any hint of what that moment might be. She read about their courtship, their wedding, the birth of her mother. Each story was more beautiful than the last, but none seemed to be the final heartbeat. She rummaged through the workshop drawers, finding the anchors of other clocks. A movie ticket, a seashell, a robin's feather. She realized that to find the memory, she needed to find its anchor. She began searching the house in the places her grandparents had shared. The attic, the backyard garden, the old bench by the river. Each place evoked echoes of their love, but the key piece remained hidden. She felt that time, real time, was slipping away. Frustration began to set in. One afternoon, exhausted, she sat in her grandfather's old armchair in the living room. She sighed, resting her head on the worn backrest. Her hand slipped into a side pocket of the chair. Inside, her fingers found something small and smooth. A pebble. It was a small river stone, pale gray, with a white vein that looked like a smile. It didn't seem important. She was about to put it back. But then, a fleeting memory, almost a mirage, crossed her mind. She was very little. She was with her grandparents by the riverbank. Her grandmother Lara was laughing, the sun lighting up her silver hair. Cale had given that very stone to Lyra, saying, "So you never forget that even the simplest thing can be perfect if we share it." Alara clutched the stone in her hand. She knew, with a certainty that gave her goosebumps, that this was the anchor. But the memory wasn't complete. What was the exact moment? She returned to the workshop with the stone. She placed it in the center of the unfinished clock's mechanism. Nothing happened. The clock remained inert, silent. Alara understood. The anchor wasn't enough. The intention was missing, the pure emotion of the moment. She closed her eyes, holding the stone between her hands, and concentrated. She searched her memory, beyond the surface image, trying to feel what her grandparents had felt. She imagined the warmth of the sun, the murmur of the water, the touch of their joined hands. But it wasn't her memory to give. It was theirs. It was then she remembered her grandfather's last words in the hospital. He had looked at her, his eyes clouded with weakness, and whispered a single word. Melody. Alara hadn't understood at the time. But now, she stood up and went to a small music box that had always sat on the living room mantel. She had never seen it work. Her grandfather used to say it was waiting for the right moment. With trembling hands, she wound it. A soft, bittersweet, and deeply familiar melody filled the silence. It was her grandmother's song, the one she would hum while tending her roses. As the music played, Alara returned to the clock. She placed the stone again, and this time she focused on the melody, letting it guide her. The memory bloomed in her mind, no longer as an image, but as an experience. It was the last day they spent by the river. Lyra was already ill, but she was happy. There were no grand words, just shared silence, the warmth of their hands, and the melody she hummed softly. Cale gave her the stone. She smiled, a tired smile, but one filled with infinite love. That was the moment. Not a goodbye, but a silent promise that their love was as enduring as that stone. A tear rolled down Alara's cheek and fell onto the clock. The instant the tear touched the silver, the starlight gears began to turn. A warm, golden light emanated from the clock, filling the workshop. The air filled with the scent of Lyra's roses and the sound of the river. The clock didn't tick-tock. It emitted a soft, steady beat like a serene heart. Alara had completed her grandfather's work. She had encapsulated their last moment of peace together. Lyra's clock, as she named it, became the heart of the shop. She didn't sell it. It remained on the counter, a testament to eternal love and the power of memory. Alara embraced her role as the new watchmaker of moments. The townspeople, skeptical at first, soon began to arrive. They brought their little treasures, their anchors, and told her their stories. Alara learned to listen, not just with her ears, but with her heart. She created a clock for a young soldier that held his father's last letter. She crafted another for an old woman who wanted to preserve the echo of her grandchildren's laughter in the garden. Each clock was a poem, each beat a verse. The shop was no longer a place of silent nostalgia, but a sanctuary of living emotions. Elara understood the true meaning of her grandfather's note. Time was not a cage that imprisoned us in the past or pushed us toward an uncertain future. It was a canvas, and every memory, every treasured moment, was a brushstroke of color that gave meaning to the masterpiece of a life. Elara never felt alone. She was surrounded by the whispers of 1,000 happy lives, by the echo of love in all its forms. And sometimes, in the quiet of the night, she would sit before Lyra's clock and listen to the serene beat of her grandparents' Lavia Euro, a melody that would never stop. The story of Kale and Lyra, and now of Elara, teaches us that the most valuable moments are not the grandest, but those in which one heart beats in sync with another. It is those moments that truly measure our existence. What moment from your life would you keep in a clock forever? What is that melody, that scent, or that feeling you wish would never fade? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this story has touched your heart, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so the echo of our stories can always find its way to you. Until next time,